Hello, this is and I am Kitty Hollywood. The film that is up for review today is Warner Brothers' 1962 musical The Music Man, based on the Broadway smash hit of the same name by Meredith Willson. This film was produced and directed by Morton DaCosta. It was choreographed by Honor White, costumes by Dorothy Jenkins, screenplay by Marion Hargrove, and it stars Robert Preston, Shirley Jones, Buddy Hackett, Paul Ford, Hermione Gingold, Perk Kelton, Tommy Everett, and Little Ronnie Howard. Now, it's about a con man who comes to River City, Iowa, with the firm intention of scamming its residents.
Are you Mr. Dunlop? Yeah? Well, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish to acknowledge, or you are not aware of the caliber of disaster indicated by the presence of a pool table in your community. Well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I say trouble right here in River City. We heard there was a pool table in town.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Just a minute.
Is it a pool table or isn't it?
Let's protect our children.
We've got to protect our children!
Folks, listen. May I have your attention, please? Attention, please. I can deal with the troubled friends with a wave of my hand, this very hand. Please observe me if you will. I'm Professor Harold Hill, and I'm here to organize a River City Boys band.
He does a bang-up job, but he fails to realise that the town itself is having a profound effect on him. Shenanigans ensue. Now, the interesting thing about this film in the modern world is that I think people who think they don't know anything about this film actually know a lot more than they realise. And the reason is this.
There's nothing on earth like a genuine, bona fide, electrified six-car monorail. What I say?
Monorail.
What's it called?
Monorail.
That's right, monorail.
The Simpsons, the monorail episode. So there you go, you've got a nice firm grounding to begin with. I first became aware of this film when I was around 10. I was off sick for a whole week and all we had to watch was Anchors Aweigh and The Music Man. And despite the very obvious lack of either Frank Sinatra or Gene Kelly to this film, it was the one that won me over and sucked me in completely. I think the reason is the community of River City that this film creates. The entire supporting cast are peppered throughout the entire film, and I would make up little stories about them, who I liked, who I didn't like, this dress, this hat, that hat, and they had me. I mean, this film was a huge film. It was a big deal. The Broadway show was one of the most popular shows ever. Morton DaCosta, who directed this film, also directed The Music Man on stage. He had a vested interest in making this a success. Warner Brothers paid a fortune for the rights to this, and they dedicated a vast section of their backlot to the building of River City, and there was an awful lot of time spent by the cast and the crew preparing, even before the filming, to become the River City Zeons that we see in front of us. Robert Preston and Shirley Jones are both superb in this, and I can't imagine anybody else playing them. I loved, in particular, the song Marion the Librarian as a child. I was utterly obsessed by it, and I would officially like to apologise to my family about that now. A number of the cast were also in the Broadway show, and I think that really adds something to this film, and you get lots of funny little peculiarities to this film that makes it seem like quite an oddball film, but really it's a lovely richness that it's lending to it. When Mr. Kitty saw this film for the first time, because I'd been talking about it such a lot, he was... And I said, come on, just push through it. It's taken him a long time, but he finally has. Something that really blows my mind about this film is that the musical numbers were, they were rehearsed in great detail beforehand, but they were pre-recorded. So in fact, what you are seeing is the cast, Robert Preston, Shirley Jones, etc., lip-syncing to a pre-recording. So Robert Preston, in fact, lip-synced this.
Now, I know all you folks are the right kind of parents. I'm going to be perfectly frank. Would you like to know what kind of conversation goes on while they're loafing around that hall? They were trying out Bevo, trying out Q-Baps, trying out tailor-mades like cigarette fiends, and bragging all about how they're going to cover up a telltale breath with Sen one fine night.
Now, the wacky person that I used to hate when I was a child, because there is always one, this is her, Larry Thomas. She was a Goldwyn girl. She was in Guys and Dolls, and I watched her and I thought, you think you're so great and you think you just want to be the star of the show. And then I thought, hang on, she's a lot like that woman in The Music Man who thinks she's so great and she just wants to be the star of the show. And they're the same person. Not only that, she's Julie Andrews' stand-in. So the woman at the top of the mountain, twirling around at the start of The Sound of Music, not Julie Andrews, oh no, Larry Thomas. I can pick 'em. Now, I think today we have a lovely gratuitous knickerbocker shot. Lil Ronnie Howard, the cutest thing you will ever find in a pair of knickerbockers. Go on, I just defy you to find a cuter little thing. Now, what's on the blog? There is a crazy, like, Princess Beatrice wedding hat, crazy hat that I am going to show you. More about the costuming, which I spent hours obsessing over as a child. And some stuff about Shirley Jones, who was very pregnant when she made this film. Now, when I saw this film, I really wanted to know all the words to "You Got Trouble." So I sat there with the VCR remote, paused it, wrote down some words. Paused it, wrote down some words. Rewound it because I didn't quite understand what that last word was. Paused it, wrote down the words. It's only a film that you truly love, that you're truly dedicated and passionate about, that you do this to. This is such a film for me. We're not even talking 10 here. We're talking 11. The Music Man.